Hello everybody, what is going on? My name is Raven. Welcome back to the channel. Today we got another murder mystery, or crime video as I like to call them, for you all today. Have you ever heard of Bob Crane, aka Robert Edward Crane? He was an American actor, a drummer, radio personality, and disc jockey, and he starred in the CBS situation comedy Hogan's Heroes. I'm going to go ahead and tell you all what happened to him first, and then I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit. So, in June of 1978, Crane was living in Winefield Place apartments in Scottsdale during a run of beginner's luck. On the afternoon of June 29th, his co-star Victoria Ann Barry entered his apartment after he failed to show up for a lunch meeting and discovered his body. He had been bludgeoned with a weapon that was never identified, though investigators believe it to be a camera tripod. An electrical cord had been tied around his neck. So, he was brutally murdered. No one knows who did it. Hold on. There was no one at first. In 1990, Scottsdale Police Detective Barry Vassell and the county attorney's office, Jim Raines, he was an investigator, re-examined the evidence from 1978. So this means that when he was found up until 1990, no one knew what did it. Who did it, okay? And persuaded the county attorney to reopen the case. DNA testing was inconclusive on the blood found in Carpenter's rental car, but Raines did discover an evidence photograph of the car's interior that appeared to show a piece of brain tissue. The actual tissue samples recovered from the car had been lost, but an Arizona judge ruled that the new evidence was admissible. Now, the reason that it did take so long to find someone to begin with is because the homicide division at the time was so ill-equipped to handle such a high-profile murder investigation that they couldn't do it. Crime scene photos yielded few clues, evidence. There was no evidence of forced entry. Nothing of value was missing. So the detectives examined Crane's extensive videotape collection, which led them to Carpenter, who had flown to Phoenix on June 25th to spend a few days with Crane. Carpenter's rental car was impounded and searched. Several blood smears were found that matched Crane's blood type. No one else of that blood type was known to have been in the car, including Carpenter. So, since DNA testing was not yet available at that time, they declined to file charges. Now, fast forward to the 90s, Carpenter is arrested now and charged with Crane's murder. And I guess I should tell you who Carpenter is. The person's name is John Henry Carpenter, or Carpenter for short. And for those of you wondering, he was a regional sales manager for Sony Electronics, who often helped famous clients with the video equipment. In the 1994 trial, Crane's son Robert testified that the weeks before his father's death, Crane had repeatedly expressed a desire to sever his friendship with Carpenter. He said that Carpenter had become a hanger-on and a nuisance to the point of being obnoxious. Carpenter's attorneys attacked the prosecutor's case as circumstantial and not inconclusive, which means it didn't line up. The evidence didn't necessarily point to Carpenter. They presented evidence that Carpenter and Crane were still the best of friends, including witnesses from the restaurant where the two men had dined the evening before the murder. They know that the murder weapon had never been identified or found, which is a make or break in most cases like this. The prosecution's camera tripod theory was sheer speculation, based solely on Carpenter's occupation. They disputed the claim that the newly discovered evidence photo showed brain tissue and presented many examples of sloppy work by police, such as mishandling and misplacing evidence, including crucial tissue samples itself. They pointed out that Crane had been videotaped and photographed in naughty, inappropriate relations with numerous women, implying that one of them may have been the killer. Which, that's possible, I'm sure. Carpenter was acquitted and he continued to maintain his innocence until his death in 1998. Robert Crane speculated publicly that Olsen, his father's widow, may have had a role in instigating the crime. Nobody got a dime after he died, except for one person, alluding to Crane's will, which excluded him, his siblings, and his mother, with the entire estate left to Olsen. He repeated suspicions in a 2015 book, Crane, Sex Celebrity, My Father's Unsolved Murder. Officially, as of now, Crane's murder remains unsolved. In November 2016, the county attorney's office permitted Phoenix television reporter John Hook to submit the 1978 blood samples from Carpenter's rental car for retesting, using a more advanced DNA technique than the one used in the 1990s. Two sequences were identified, one from an unknown male, and the other two degraded to reach a conclusion. The testing consumed all the remaining DNA from the rental car, making further tests impossible. Authorities tried to get DNA samples from Crane and Carpenter's remains, but their families refused permission to exhume them. So this is going to remain unsolved pretty much for all of time, especially since the body, the police cannot get more DNA from the men themselves, just to kind of clear everyone out. What do y'all think happened? Do you think that it was Carpenter that did it? Do you think it was his ex-wife that did it? Do you think it was one of the many women that Crane had been with? Who knows? It is said that it was an unknown male, so it could have been anyone. It could have been anyone he was working with, because he was in Hogan's Heroes, which was a TV series. I've never watched it, but if you all have, it's set in World War II, and it's a sitcom, so y'all can kind of figure out what that is like. And that was really one of the last things he really did. Now, he did do the Bob Crane Show on NBC. It was canceled after 14 episodes due to lack of people liking it. So, what do y'all think? Let me know in the comment section down below. However, before I do end it, I did say I would do more of his early life at the end. He was a radio broadcaster. He had people such as Marilyn Monroe, Frank Sinatra, Bob Hope go to the show that he was kind of working on for the radio station. And his show quickly topped the morning ratings with adult listeners in the LA area. He became the king of the LA airways. His acting ambitions led to guest hosting for Johnny Carson on the daytime game show Who Do You Trust? And he appeared on The Twilight Zone, Channing, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and General Electric Theater. After Carl Reiner appeared on his radio show, Crane persuaded Reiner to book him for a guest appearance on The Dick Van Dyke Show. So it sounds like he was doing very well for himself until the end there, when the last show he was really in stopped getting all the views and it just kind of plummeted. What do you all think happened? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, I'm not listing everyone's names. You guys can always look up every single person he's ever worked with, every single show. He's had 2 spouses, 5 kids. I mean, there's really no way of knowing what actually happened to this poor man. I mean, we know he was killed, and it was very brutal and gruesome, but we don't know who, and we don't know why. If Carpenter didn't do it because it was in the rental car, I think he helped somebody do it, because he claims he didn't do it, and it was all circumstantial evidence. I mean, who knows? I'm not here to throw people under the bus or anything like that. The police thought it was Carpenter, and now we will never know what truly happened. We will never know the truth. So, if you all like today's video, make sure you hit that like button, smack that subscribe button and notification bell, so you are notified every single time I upload, which is every single day basically. And you also get the opportunity to help kind of grow our little family. Our family is growing at a very alarmingly high rate, which I'm very proud of. I am trying my best to make sure I do many different types of videos for good content for you all. I will see you all in the next video. Bye!